Oh, you know what's really interesting, guys? Shout out to Cheshire Cat. He actually brought this up in the comments. This image right here, which is awesome, by the way. I was so excited, so happy seeing this. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Obviously, these are the main playable members for the party. People off to the side are, unfortunately, side assist characters. We won't be directly controlling Sid. We won't be directly controlling Vincent. That's already been confirmed. But looking at this right here, this is the 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters that we're going to be controlling. But with these two off to the side, Cheshire Cat was talking about how, what if this is like, there's actual like meaning in between like where everybody's like standing on, right? Because if you look at it, Kate Sith standing on a rock, Tifa standing on a rock, Aerith not standing on a rock, standing on like this dirt to earthy terrain, Cloud on the rocky area, Barrett half on rock, half touching terrain, Red 13 on a rock, and Yuffie on a rock. Also, if you look at it, Aerith is technically the lowest one. Everybody's on a higher point than her, it would seem. Like, what if that's like symbolic in a way? Of course it's overreaching, bro. That's what we're doing. You gotta overreach. Oh, that's actually a pretty cool point too. That's the thing with Barrett being on half too, because he technically was killed and brought back in remake. Wow. Damn. Remember the Whispers stabbed, well, Sephiroth stabbed him and the Whispers saved him and brought him back to life. He technically died at the end of FF7 Remake. I know some people mocked your theory, but artists love hiding meaning in their art, and having Barrett on one foot and one rock on one dirt goes to the old saying, one foot in the grave. See, I think you might be onto something, man. Every theory, bro, people are always gonna mock it. People aren't gonna like believe it, but I truly do think you're onto something right here. Barrett did die, but he was brought back, so he's half. Oh, shout outs to Granddaddy Otaku-sama. He actually wrote this in the Discord, but I wanted to bring it up and talk about it because this is something that I've talked about before, about how the party is essentially playing into Sephiroth's hand. Like, he basically says something he thinks people never really talk about or seem to grasp is seems like Cloud and the group are playing directly into Sephiroth's hands. He's manipulated them into fighting and defeating the Whispers, who originally were only trying to keep fate and destiny as it should be, while he kept showing them fake futures and glimpses of tragic events, especially Cloud, which only made the conviction to defeat them, him, and the Whispers even stronger to change their fate, which they thought the imagery that was being showcased to them are negative things, very negative outcomes. Of course, Sephiroth absorbed the Whispers and was able to use them as his weapons, but it was really all a ruse, he thinks, and just a way to make Cloud and the gang break the chains of destiny so that he can remake the timeline the way that he wishes, which is exactly, I think, true. If you look at what the devs said, right? Each title isn't necessarily going to have to do with like what is exactly going on in the game. It also has to do with the development process, but it very well could be like Remake is directly correlating towards Sephiroth and what he's trying to do, what his actions are. Rebirth is trying to bring back something alive. Maybe the Rebirth is Aerith coming back alive and being rebirthed in a way in the Terrier timeline, which would very much, and in my opinion, butcher the oomph of her passing away in the Beagle timeline, but that's not going to be the case. I don't think. We'll have to wait and see what the direction will be or what exactly they plan to do going forward with that. That's definitely something to keep your eye out for. The real question is, why is Marlene alive in both realities? Well, because the party dies on the highway, right? Marlene is already in Aerith's house right before then. We're gonna actually play some of Remake tonight, and you guys will see that we actually dropped Marlene off. Aerith did, and we saw her, and she's with Elmira and them. And when Cloud and Zack reunite over here, for some reason the time at which Cloud and Zack enter into Midgar isn't exactly the time that they first entered Midgar, because originally Cloud, I think Zack dies in October or late September, but Cloud gets into Midgar either mid or late October, and then the bombing run starts in December. For whatever reason, Cloud and Zack, when they enter Midgar, it is presumably December. The bombing run mission has already went and happened, and they're being inserted at that point. It very much is odd. I hope they explain it, because it doesn't seem to make sense, especially when you think about it. Like, okay, if he survived that fight and he went directly into Midgar, should still be way before the party even like met Cloud. So how did any of these events continue to occur, right? I think Marlene across all of the timelines is aware because of Aerith touching her. When Aerith meets with her in the Sector 7 7th Heaven bar, she touches Marlene, and it's a visible interaction. You can see like Marlene like has a sudden realization, and her mind gets like blown, and then Aerith looks at her and says, shh. Like, clearly Aerith is hiding some things. But we see her do the same thing with Red 13, and Red even says it himself. When Aerith touched him, he started to gain knowledge and information about things that he had no idea about before, specifically the Whispers. When he gives the Arbiter of Fate the Whispers like the name, he said, I actually didn't know anything about this until Aerith touched me. Aerith is like a conduit, I guess. Whenever she touches or interacts with people that are very in tune with the planet, like there's always this backstory, or there's always been this theory that Marlene's mother was of some sort related to the Cetra. Obviously Red 13 and his background, his where he's from, they're very in tune with the planet. So I think that those two things are triggers for Aerith like coming into direct contact with them. I mean, we've seen Aerith touch one other person, and that was Cloud. And when she touched, like, grabbed Cloud's arm, he was able to see what the Whispers are and visualize them, and other people couldn't. Dine did hear voices in the OG. That's a good point, actually. I keep hearing him telling me not to hate your guts, but he thinks it's his wife. What are my thoughts on Advent Children still happening after the remake trilogy? You know, I had a theory about that a couple years ago. I said how I think the events are going to play out exactly the same. Whatever's going on with Zack is a separate timeline that's not affecting or directly interacting with the current timeline. And everybody said, like, nah, it's not, it can't be that simple. And I'm like, well, I don't think it's necessarily a thing with simplicity. I just don't see them retconning or changing things up with Advent Children like that. I was right on both accounts. They're aiming towards going to Advent Children, and Zack is in a separate timeline, and the timelines did not merge as of yet. Because for a long time before, I was on that side. I was saying that, but then I started to change my stance, and I'm like, okay, I could see how the timelines could have merged, and that could be very well could be the case. But then they show us all this stuff. Well, not this stuff, but the Summer Games Fest trailers, and I'm like, oh, we see stamps in the background, and they're beagles. They're not terriers. So we know that the timelines aren't merged yet. And I saw that in my own gameplay too. Why can't Sephiroth just destroy the white materia instead of killing Aerith? I don't think it's as simple as him being able to destroy it. You think they should have showed more Tifa? No. I don't think so at all. Listen, I'm a big Tifa fan. I don't subscribe to like these shipping war things, but I've been seeing some discussions, and people are going crazy about this stuff. That trailer is clearly, to me, a farewell trailer to Aerith. It's like a send-off. It's a send-off trailer. They actually even specifically mention it right here. We have relationships in the game, bonds of friendship. So this is the first part right here. Cloud's actions and the way he responds to other party members while conversing with them will affect his relationship with them. With a strong enough bond, you may even reap some benefits. So whenever you're faced with a decision, you might want to think hard before responding, especially if it concerns your favorite character, your personal favorite character. Obviously, the trailer showed us all of those events with Aerith and Cloud perspective, and it does proceed to show us here that relationship aspect can apply to these dates, right? That's not the play or the theater part. Then they actually say another thing, like this is the category relationships in regards to Loveless, the play that they're doing at the Gold Saucer. Theatrical production based on the classic epic poem Loveless. It depicts a hero's fight against the Dragon King, the tyrannical ruler of Guardia, as well as his love for Princess Rosa. Skip over Gyrus bait, and it says right here, depending on your relationship with fellow theater goers, can't talk. The person playing Rosa may even change, along with parts of the script. What that reads to me, this is clearly a playthrough where they chose Aerith for a majority of the things. The trailer is based on Aerith to obviously make that ending more impactful, make you really sad, really pull out the heartstrings. And it says that it's not just Aerith that can do this. That's the beautiful thing about this game. They understand people have preferences, so they make that option available for everybody to enjoy. Not that I care or anything like that, but it's just like, bro, people are wilding out. Talking about like, they're not getting the game. Okay. Sure. And if you don't, that's fine. More power to you. Like, don't get the game. Talk with your wallet. If you really think that's going to make a big difference, by all means, talk with your wallet, do what you got to do. Somehow you're not convinced with Sid. You hope they still include his cigarette pack later in the game that's gone in the trailer for advertisement friendly on purposes. Somehow his dialogue didn't fit to his character. What you remembered him being a little bit more cocky visually. They nailed him pretty well. With Vincent, on the other hand, everything is perfect dialogue, visuals, and voice acting. I think, I don't really have any worries towards Sid. I think Sid's going to be the way he's supposed to be. And when the time is right, when we actually get to see the game, we get to see how he acts and how he talks to people. The thing about these trailers is not to answer questions, provide you with more questions, confusion. Why is that happening? Why is that the case? You know, they made a big point about Jesse's dad being in between life and death. You feel like it was a separation in preparation for Aerith's state and Cloud's in Zack's timeline, and perhaps other characters too. You think that when she dies in remake timeline, she'll wake up in that body, like Marlene was implying, and then Zack has to protect her from Sephiroth. That's a very fair like theory right there. I mean, what was the big point of them showing us that situation with Jesse's father, and Biggs going into explaining to us that she's done research and she's found that it could possibly mean he's stuck between life and the afterlife in the live stream, right? So I think that's a very, very good assumption. Yo, Granddaddy, thank you so much for another 5, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, man, you guys are crushing it. Thank you. Theory. Cloud's timeline, Aerith will have the OG fate, but Zack's timeline, Aerith will survive, but gain Cloud timeline memories. What do you think? I think Aerith has all timelines. I think she's all aware. I think she's all aware of everything that's constantly going on, and that's why in Remake, she's adamant about keeping the party on track with what needs to be done. Anything they said was weird at his line? I mean, guys, it's one line. It's 2 lines, actually. 2 lines out of the possible, like, 500 pieces of dialogue that Sid will say from when he's in the game towards the end of the game. And they specifically showed it to us in an Aerith farewell, like, trailer, and being nice to Aerith. I'm not reading too much into that. I don't think Sid is going to disappoint. They've nailed all the other characters that we've seen so far, as far as attitude, demeanor, and representation, as far as remake and intermission goes. I don't think they're going to drop the ball with Sid. Still want to play as Aerith in part 3. Don't worry, bro, I got you. The PC version will mod her in. Man, I've seen a lot of members in the chat tonight, man. Thank you guys for joining the support tier. We have a $2 tier on YouTube. If you want to help support the channel, the $2, by all means, it goes a long way. It's totally optional, but it gives you a materia next to your name that levels up every month, and you get access to our channel exclusive emojis. And whenever we play multiplayer games, you'll play with us. See that part right there? She was outside not in the Forgotten Capital. Which part are you talking about, games? Well, I think this is the Forgotten Capital, the Lost City. Because remember, the Lost City, they go to a different area underneath it where they find Aerith over the water and the altar and all that stuff, and it's a completely different look from the rest of the Lost City. You can tell she's outside. I mean, all right, let's go through it slowly. I don't know how you could tell anything from in here. It's like, see grass and mountains, bro. Where? You see grass and mountains, not the like altar behind her right here, and live stream juice around her from chanting to holy. I don't think she's outside, bro. I mean, I'm not. Why would she be praying for holy outside? Guys, don't argue with me on this, bro. This is gonna be the Junon map debate again, and you guys remember how that worked out, right? Where I was absolutely 1000% right, and you guys were all gaslighting me and very incorrect. I mean, if you guys are seeing what you're seeing, you're seeing what you're seeing. I'm not gonna argue it, but there's no way to actively debate this until the game comes out. This is not something that I even like care to discuss where this is. This is something we're gonna wait to see. If Sephiroth kills her in the forest in front of mountains with whispers and live stream juice all around, then so be it. You guys win. But I don't fucking think that's the case. This shit always cracks me up. The timing. Yo, these smash, they go so hard. I just don't see why would Aerith not attempt to summon holy in the city of the ancients, and instead have her die outside in the wilderness with mountains, and like that don't make no sense to me. I don't know, guys. Like, it's just, they specifically said the game ends at the city of the lost ancients multiple times. Hamaguchi straight up told us, yo, it is ending at the city the city of the lost ancients.